So, today I want to talk about the voice that keeps you quiet and the voice that keeps you small. And that voice is self doubt. This is not the kind that shows up once in a while, but the kind that really just like gets into your head and actually starts impacting your decisions, or maybe it's even making decisions for you. It's that voice that keeps you from applying. It's the voice that keeps you from maybe raising your hand or speaking up, stepping into leadership, maybe taking on a new credential, maybe going back to school, just starting something new. Maybe it's gatekeeping you from just staying small and being seen. And I know this voice very well because I do have that voice in my head at times still, but I very much have lived it. And honestly, I think in the past year alone, I can honestly say I've talked myself out of so many different opportunities, like leadership opportunities. This past year, I actually have made a personal choice to change jobs. And during that process where you're opening applications or just kind of looking in job searches, I mean, I'd open things and I'd actually like talk myself out of even applying. Like I would gatekeep myself, thinking that I wasn't even like good enough for the position because that's what the voice in my head was telling me. And there were some things that I was like genuinely interested in. They were positions that may have like kind of lift me up. And I have since found a new role, and I'm actually very grateful that I ended up in this route. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I'm currently in now. It's a very good fit. And, what I don't want to focus on is necessarily like the journey of jobs. That's not the point of this. It's literally just that self doubt that kind of keeps you limited that I'm really talking through today. It's just like an example that I think a lot of people relate to, and I think a lot of people struggle with. Is just telling yourself that you're, not qualified enough, like that lie. Focusing in on like what you maybe are lacking instead of what you actually bring to the table, and everything that you do offer and everything that you've done. I think a lot of people have that voice convince themselves that maybe somebody else is just better, like that comparison game. I know I did that. Like I would talk myself out of like some things thinking, hey, this other person has more experience or more credentials or more confidence or whatever else I thought that the role actually required. And then I would just like close the job posting. So it's like I wasn't even getting rejected. I was like rejecting myself. It's nobody else wasn't telling me that I wasn't qualified. It's just that inner voice keeping me small and that lie. After reflecting on it, I do think that I was qualified for more of those opportunities than I let myself believe. Um, and just really kind of the lesson of self-limiting, and gatekeeping yourself. That's what fear very much looks like. It's not always like this dramatic fight or flight thing that's happening. Sometimes it literally just looks like scrolling past an opportunity or maybe saving an application but never actually hitting submit. Maybe it's telling yourself like next year or just even next month, like you just keep postponing things. Sometimes it's like, especially in nursing, there's so many different credentials and so forth that you can earn, which are like wonderful, and I actually encourage people to grow yourself and to get credentials. Like I'm a big believer in that, but I also want to ask people, like, before you do a credential, like ask yourself like internally, like, why? Like, are you only pursuing something because you think you need like the one more degree or the one more credential or the one more year experience or the one more whatever? Sometimes fear can almost like seem to be practical, but it's really just like self-doubt. Just wearing something professional, like a credential or, like I said, another degree. I know one of the biggest things that I see in people that I coach, and one things that I feel like I can coach on very well, is comparison. And how comparing yourself to another person can really keep you, small, and it really like limits yourself because you're honestly comparing yourself to somebody else's journey as opposed to just like fully embracing and leaning into your own. You might like look at another person and think to yourself like, oh, this person has more experience, or they have more credentials, or they're more outgoing, or they're stronger at XYZ. You might think this person's more prepared, or whatever it might be. But every time you compare yourself to another person, you are actually getting farther and farther removed from like your own journey that you are actually meant to be on. I know that comparison made me overlook my own evidence of growth that I had for myself. And it really like taught me, it made me discount like, not only like what I believed, and, what I was, and am kind of living through. Um, you know, it Comparison does that. It steals joy. It makes you forget the path that you're meant to be on because you're just too busy looking at what other people are doing to like do anything like meaningful for yourself. Um, I know like a lot of you, may not know this, but I actually have lost my mom in this past year, and there's going to be a lot more, I think, to come in the future. I'm going to talk more openly about that. I'm still very much grieving and healing, but my mom was a person for me that like really like lifted me up and guided me in many ways, and was the person that I would always like have soundboarding with, who helped me know that I was like capable. She believed in me. She was a person I would call and bounce ideas off of always, just like my supporter and my encourager. And really like, she raised me, and she was a stay-at-home mom, and she has helped me, like I hear her voice in my head now, step into the person that I'm like meant to become, and who I want to become. Her Losing her has changed me very, very much. It has made me more reflective, especially like, it's interesting if any of you have ever lost somebody, like you grieve. It doesn't make sense. Like you could be driving in a car and just stop at a red light and for no reason whatsoever, just break down into tears. It literally doesn't make sense. I don't think it's like meant to be. It's just a big loss, but I digress. The loss of her has really, really impacted and changed me in an odd way where I feel like it has actually made me bolder. Like this past year has impacted and changed me in just profound ways. I've decided I'm going to be everything that she poured into me and that she would want me to be. Like you, I'm not meant to be small. I'm not going to keep keeping myself or putting myself in a box because of fear, because it feels safer to be there. I am going to explore the power within me, just as I'm going to help you as a coach to explore the power within you. And I'm going to encourage you and walk you through to actually like do the same. I want to work with you to help you to stop like trimming yourself down to just fit inside that safety zone, because it just feels scary to go outside of that comfort. I want us to let our gifts grow wild, very much like wildfire, very alive, expansive, unapologetic, willing to take up space, own the room. For me, like stepping into this business, or even right now being on a live chat for the second time, the first time the video didn't work very well, is very bold. I created in the past year nurse education and empowerment, and that is me in part making the decision that I'm not holding myself back anymore. And in the middle of all this reflection, today, actually, this morning, I finally got the official CU sponsorship for nurse education and empowerment, like literally this morning, guys. So I'm like super excited to share that with you as news. So if you have any continuing education topics that you'd like to hear about and you'd like for me to write for you, it could be clinical or otherwise, definitely let me know. But, kind of back to this self doubt and fear that I kind of opened this with. I actually sat on even filling out the application for like probably close to over 2 years. 2 years. Just literally from hitting apply. And I think part of that was I really, I don't know, held myself again back, just thinking maybe I didn't have enough experience to be teaching people, which is so funny to me because I have so much clinical experience to actually be teaching people. I mean, I taught critical care nursing to nursing students, taught capstone students. I have nurse practitioner students with me all the time. And honestly, it's just funny because the reality that I sometimes think that people have for themselves is, again, you maybe don't lack experience, but it's just that voice inside of your head that self limits and creates doubt for yourself. That makes you feel that you're not worthwhile enough to like step into the version of the self of yourself that you are like meant to be in. So just but super excited about having the continuing education sponsorship and kind of following through with that and finally putting myself out there and being bold and taking action. Doing that feels very exciting and energizing, and it's just the next chapter. Um, Sometimes I think that when we gatekeep ourselves too, we're like trying to keep ourselves from perhaps like failure or like just a fear of failure. Um, yeah, so I just really want to encourage you today, if you're listening to this, to reflect on like what is, one single area, not like 10 different areas, but like literally like one single area that you are gatekeeping for yourself right now and holding yourself back on. And I actually want to challenge you to make a plan to act on that thing that's just in your mind that you're not doing because of the voice that's trying to keep you small and keeping you from, just moving forward. I want you to like celebrate the version of yourself who just chooses courage over comfort. And even if you fail, like at least you know that you've actually stepped forward and you've like tried. And things don't always necessarily work out perfectly, but at least like that you tried and you're going to grow confidence in actually like the trying of that, and just trust the process. And that's part of like the beauty sometimes of just becoming. Well, that's it for today. But I just really want to challenge you to, open the application and apply if that's been on your mind, or if you're thinking of going back to school, maybe kind of just ask yourself, is that the right decision for you? And if fear's been the thing holding you back, apply. If you've been holding yourself back from maybe like speaking up or, sending a message or an email, I just want to encourage you today to like just take the first step and let yourself be seen, let yourself try. And even if it does not turn out exactly the way that you hope, putting yourself out there it's a form of success. So I believe in you today. And your nervous system is definitely, like I want you to just tell yourself that you are capable, and yeah, don't listen to that small little voice. Like trust yourself to take that next step. If you are interested at all in having somebody that has really been through it themselves that can walk you through and encourage you along the way, I want you to direct message me the word confident, and let's just have a conversation where we can see how I can help you to maybe get unstuck and feel more bold and confident to like own the room. Thank you.